So I'm catching up on some YouTube stuff, and I come across this video. It is on Let Me See Your Transcripts YouTube page. It came out about 19 hours ago. I started watching a little bit of it, and I thought I would watch the whole thing with you. You know how this goes. And I'll give my little commentary. We'll see what's up. The video is called Umar Johnson Soliciting Requests for Curriculum Materials His. I think there was some editing needed on that title, but that's what it is. And I'll go ahead and put a link in it below too. So let me start it over. I'm about 30 seconds into it.
That's how we do that. That's how we do that. By the way, if you produce curriculum of any kind, if you have a book, if you have a program, if you have any type of academic materials, book bags, school decorations,
wait a minute. I mentioned this. Umar Johnson is supposed to be creating a school where there is none of its kind. This is a revolutionary Pan-African academy. So who else is going to have a curriculum for that school? If this school is as unique and as special, as proprietary as you make it out to be, first of all, you should already have your curriculum. You should have your curriculum. You are the founder of the school. No one can produce this curriculum for you. While you've never talked about math, or as it's properly called, maths, you've never talked about sciences, you've never talked about, language arts, you've never talked about the core subjects that make up school, those do need to be there. And along with any African American or African history, probably some demonic ideology that you have of your own. That's something you got to do, Umar. Curriculum is your job. You are the founder of this school. Either that or on your team of professionals, all the many, many professionals that you got, you should have the architect, the engineer, the lawyer, the doctor, the ones who own schools. You 10 years in, boo, you ain't got no curriculum? I mean, I've developed curriculum in a matter of weeks for a summer program. I mean, that counts as a semester. It doesn't take much to develop curriculum. And it doesn't take much when you have all the people that you got on your invisible team. You should have already, here's where I'm stuck. And I'm going to try not to stay here too long. You painting a school, but you ain't got no curriculum. You're having someone move your clothes into a building. You're cleaning up a gym with dead birds in it, but you don't have no curriculum? So how can you say this is an institution? How can you say that someone is your enemy and protesting you when you have nothing to protest? You don't even have a curriculum, son. That's the basics. I mean, my daughter's daycare teacher has a curriculum, and she's a part-time daycare teacher at a daycare. And you want to have an entire 4th through 6th, 7th, 8th, and then a high school, and you don't even have a curriculum. Do you know how to create a curriculum? Excuse me. Do you know how to design a curriculum? Do you even know what's important? Because what you may or may not know is that you don't need a curriculum. You need curricula, because you're teaching multiple grades and with some special needs based on what you said in 2010 about the learning disabilities and emotional needs. You need more than one curriculum. This isn't going to be I would need a curriculum if I was teaching my daughter, but I would need curricula if I'm teaching multiple. Damn, dude, you just show how much you don't know. Let me keep going.
History books on economics, books on agriculture for children. Please email FDMG Academy.
You want somebody else's books,
Because I want to include
but you wrote the Black Bible on parenting, but you can't.
Program developers, black academic publishers and self-publishers and program designers into the curriculum. So
now you yelling into the wind and you asking for help on Instagram Live. Now you asking for help on Instagram Live because you haven't fostered the relationships inside your own professional community.
We want to keep the donation money within the African family. We want to keep the donation money within the
You want to keep donation money within the African family. Okay, stop selling your books to white people then.
Your textbooks first.
Is that a dog behind you? Where are you?
We want to use your textbooks first before we go outside the race.
Where the hell are you?
A book on self-esteem. You wrote a children's book on great black women. You wrote a book on the stock market for children. You wrote a book.
So you're not going to handpick the materials that are in your school. You're going to take whatever people send you. And I'm pretty sure you expect it to be free.
Blaxploitation novels. I don't want any adult material. This is for the school, brothers and sisters. This is for the school. So I'm in the process of
This is some bullshit.
And some have already started to come in. Some have already started to come in.
If someone come in, what's this petition for?
Reviewing academic
Reviewing. You're reviewing.
Workbooks, computer.
A man who has never taught in a classroom is reviewing academic materials. A man who has never proctored an exam and doesn't even know how to design his own curriculum. A man who probably doesn't even know how to make a lesson plan for a 30-minute, 45-minute, 20-minute, 50-minute lesson is reviewing academic materials. A man who wrote a book with no references, come on, yo, is... A man whose dissertation we're unable to find. I wrote my thesis. I can show it to you. This man is reviewing academic materials. A man who's more occupied with standing on a shitty rock, waving a flag, and giving an Instagram Live recitation of a speech outside a building that is poorly painted and has no functioning utilities. A man who believed a fake email or even created it himself, allegedly. This man is reviewing academic materials.
Programs, maps, brochure.
Maps. And none of those materials he's reviewing, I'm sorry, there's something in this video had some sort of interruption. He didn't say nothing about no electronic resources, programs, software, apps. He's thinking paper books, paper maps. He hasn't said anything about iPads, MacBooks, smart boards.
We will order from you in bulk. Don't send me any popular books. I don't need the autobiography of Malcolm X. I know how to get that. I don't need Miseducation of the Negro.
You're supposed to be an educator. Why do you need to put an Instagram Live out to get materials? You should be in the network.
I'm asking for stuff that you produce yourself.
And he ain't gonna pay you for it.
Computer or print that you produce yourself and mail that to the school. And you want to do that now.
Yep, just a second, baby. I'll be right there, okay?
I've made my choices.
Zoba.
You think you got a nice book for
Zoba, Tinsha.
something they need to
Shit.
know, you need to go ahead and forward that at this time. You need to go ahead and forward that at this time, brothers and sisters.
This is such a waste of time.
You understand?
So he begging one way or another. He either begging for money or he begging for stuff he should already know how to get on his own.
That's where we at.
materials.
That's what we're doing. Working on the Black History Month tour. I think I'm going to go ahead and do the 7 days of Kwanzaa. 7 days of Kwanzaa.
And now we are transitioning into another conversation. I'm just waiting for the Cash App.
For the 7 days of Kwanzaa.
Now, he said, I remember when he was getting ready to come to China, we hosted him in China, January 2018. That Kwanzaa right before that, 2017, he was saying that was going to be his final. That was supposed to be his farewell tour, remember? I remember that. I watched that whole thing, and it reminded me of those gospel singers who have a farewell album, hoping everybody would buy it. And then next year they have another album. But he's had 2 Kwanzaa tours, I guess, since then. I just don't understand how he said his farewell one was a couple of years ago. That just shows more the inconsistency.
19809 9634 Wilmington, Delaware. 19809. Same place you send your donations. That's the same address for donations. You can send me stuff there too. If you're sending me something that is time sensitive, send it to Philadelphia. If it's time sensitive, send it to Philadelphia. P.O. Box 6872.
Umar Johnson doesn't have an office. The Prince of Pan-Africanism doesn't have an office.
We're working on Australia. We're working on Nigeria.
Ain't nobody working on no damn Australia. I'm telling you something. First of all, he said he's never been invited to Australia. And he doesn't procure his own events. Someone usually invites him, especially if it's an overseas event. And in those events, the person who invites him is responsible for paying for everything. So let me clear that up. When Umar Johnson goes overseas, when you see him in Japan, in bathhouses or China at a restaurant or wherever, he is not paying for that. Generally, whoever brought him, whatever group or person or organization hosted him, is the one that pays for the flight, pays for the hotel, transportation, food, everything. We hosted him in China, and I worked with the team that hosted him in Japan. And we paid for everything. He didn't pay for anything. As a matter of fact, he left money with me when he left because he brought money with him in Chinese currency that he didn't use because we paid for everything. Now, there were extras on top of like regular lodging and transportation. There were a couple excursions that we hosted, and we paid for that too. So it's quite possible that that bathhouse you saw wasn't paid for by Umar Johnson. I'm not quite sure why he hasn't said that. As a matter of fact, he asked me not to tell you. Some groups, he does charge an honorarium to speak. Some he doesn't. But that transportation and everything you see, and that's for any speaker. That's for anybody who does what he did on the lecture circuit. Usually, those things are included in the contract as a writer. Those are things that they don't have to pay for. Which leaves plenty of money for professional painters and professional HVACers. And instead of hiring someone off the street who you know you're going to take advantage of, hiring a professional mover, a professional handyman who can commit to the school, professional security staff. Because if you're not paying for those international trips over the last 10 years, and I know you're not using donation money for those things, then I know that you possibly could cover these other costs. $44 utility bills and such that could have been covered by you but weren't.
UK brothers and sisters.
So I know he's not working on Australia because nobody's inviting him to Australia. First of all, Australia is closed.
I ain't no Pan-Africanist. We are one family. So if you live in Jamaica, you live in South America. If you live in Africa, you live in I don't care where it comes from. I don't
Wait a
care
minute.
where it comes from. We welcome it.
Wait a minute. I'm the most requested, but I'm dry begging. I'm dry begging. I'm the most requested. I'm not just a scholar who writes a book with no references and can't tell you where I get my statistics from. I'm not just prolific. I'm the most requested of them all. But I'm on Instagram dry begging for somebody to request me. Whoa, okay.
African brothers and sisters, our Central South American brothers and sisters, our Caribbean.
You hear the dry bag?
Our European African.
You hear the dry bag, right?
Canadian. If you have curriculum material, textbooks, workbooks that I can use, you need to send them now. Now is the time.
Why would anybody send you their materials when you shit on everybody? Nobody can do what you do. Nobody can teach like you can teach. Nobody can educate like you can educate. Nobody can orate like you orate, write like you write, squat like you squat, shit like you shit. But they're going to send you the materials that they're using? The materials they've designed? For free, nigga.
What's that? I don't need it. I don't need it.
Wait a minute. Let's skip this ad.
Agriculture for children. Please even.
I'm going to go back to the end because it was something I didn't hear. Just the last 10 seconds. I'm going to listen to it.
WhatsApp or direct. What's that? I don't need it. Now is the time. You got stuff on veganism for children, healthy eating for children.
He's not a vegan, and he's not a healthy eater.
Send it on in. You can add me on WhatsApp if you're international.
That doesn't even make sense.
98998.
He doesn't have a curriculum, so he's just hoping people just send him shit he could just put together. Then he got some, you know, y'all know this man ain't serious about.
What's that? I don't need it. I don't need it.
Yeah, that's the end of that. He doesn't have a curriculum. So first of all, he's not serious about opening a school. No, this is not how people behave when they are serious about doing something. They don't. There are things that are being worked on right now, and you don't hear about them till it's time, till it's incorporated, till it's copywritten, till it's registered, till there's a sign on the door. Yet you've been hearing about this school for 10 years, and there's nothing to show for it at this point, except for a school full of dead birds. He's not serious. It's obvious. This right here, this video, Umar Johnson soliciting requests for curriculum materials, he's not serious. It's obvious. There's nothing about this that says, I have been working diligently on this long enough to know exactly what I need and exactly what I want and how to get it. I have every intention of procuring the things that I need in a certain amount of time with a certain kind of level of excellence. None of that. None of that is part of this. This is a dry beg for some attention. Umar does this all the time. He'll tell people he needs a plumber, and then plumbers reach out to him and he ignores them. He'll tell people he's looking for a vegan restaurant in the city, so people will DM him, and then he ignores them and goes to the Cheesecake Factory anyway. He tells city after city after city, I might be coming to your city. Where should I go? Where should I go? What school should I choose? What building should I choose in your city, when he's already purchased 2 abandoned buildings in Wilmington, Delaware? This is what he does. He's a narcissist. He'll do things like this to get attention. And, you know, I'm sitting here upset because he's asking for materials when he don't even have a curriculum. When the truth of the matter is, he's wasting people's time even asking them for materials because he's not serious. Did you see that room when he flipped the camera and you could see the mess? That was a bunch of stuff. That was a sign of a person who always needs things around them. I've seen it with him before. I wasn't surprised about that room. I've seen that before with him. He travels with a lot of shit, unnecessary shit. If you've ever hosted Umar, you know he travels with a whole lot of shit, almost as if he lives on the road. I got a phone call January 2018. I'm on my way to Shanghai. I got a phone call. Umar needs money because his luggage won't go on the airplane without more money. How much money he need? He need $1,000 American dollars. $1,000 American dollars. $1,000 American dollars. What? $1,000 American dollars at the time was about 6,500 Chinese dollars. And he was asking me for that for his luggage. No. Sorry. That wasn't in our budget. It got covered by the other person who hosted him in Japan. I sure wasn't putting up for that bullshit. I saw that game. $1,000 for luggage. Man, he came and he had a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm like, you're only going to be here for a week. Why so much stuff? Probably because he lives on the road. But that's also what hoarders do. And that's what people do when they don't know how to let go of things. Because they always have to have things around them and people around them. This whole solicitation for requests is a beg for attention. It's just like asking for plumbers and not responding to their messages. It's just like the wifey resumes or the teacher resumes. He's always asking for something so that people will flood his DMs or his WhatsApp with something, and he never has any intention of using them. I've been in a room with him where his phone has gone off over and over and over and over and over and over again, and he just ignores every message. He ignores every message. He watches himself on YouTube all day. Not his videos, people about him. He watches these videos people make about him all day. That's what he does. That's why if you ask him about most current events or pop culture, he can't tell you anything because he's self-absorbed. If the information doesn't benefit him or his platform, it's not going to come across his invisible desk because he ain't got no office. But that's what makes me upset about this. It's like, you're purposely asking for professional people who have gotten wisdom from universe and taken action on their initiative and have actually materialized and created something and put it in the planet to help people, and you're asking them to send it to you for free so you can prostitute their attention. Never give them credit. Never give them a thank you. You said you've received some already, but we've never heard a public thank you from you for any of it. Any of it. And Tiffany... And Tiffany, baby, I'm not here to shit on you, but that man is not treating you well in public. He shitted on you about being late to an invisible protest on Wednesday morning. He shitted on you in front of the whole world. He didn't say thank you for being here. Thank you for coming all the way from LA to support me. Nothing. He said Tiffany was late. And you took that shit. Bitch. You need to roll with me for a couple days. Stop being Oba. Start being Oshun. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to leave it at that. Anyway, yeah, I'm trying to, y'all, sometimes these videos are funny and they have me cracking up and dying, and I wish this was one of them. I wish last week's was one of them. Maybe if I keep doing these commentaries, we'll have one and it'll be more fun. I haven't been able to do one like that yet. They've been going deep because this time of year, Umar goes real deep. He goes real dark. We know that. We've seen it. We've watched this pattern. There are YouTubers who've mentioned the pattern. This time of year, it gets deep. It gets dark. Every year this time, he's got a beef with somebody. This year, he created a beef. because there wasn't one. And this whole ask is, disappointment. You had 15 people show up at a protest, and all of them said they were there to support you. And you needed that. But you pre-canceled the second protest because you knew wasn't nobody going to show up. And here you are now soliciting requests for curriculum materials. Sad. It's really sad. It's really, really sad, Umar. It's really sad. You connected me with an amazing person who has been a spiritual guide and a spiritual mother to me, and I need you to reach out to her. Get a head cleaning, get a reading. You need it. That's it. Y'all, I'll see you in the comments. It's funny. I got a lot of positive feedback on the last video, and the the two people who didn't like nothing I said were both very ignorant, very, very offensive. And when I checked, both of those accounts were new, didn't have any subscribers, and only commented on Umar Johnson videos. So who you think that was? I miss you too, boo. I'll holla.